This is the Intercollegiate Tennis Hall of Fame. As today we're on the campus of the University of Georgia for the 109th NCAA Singles Championship. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Joel Myers, and welcome to Athens, Georgia. The story of this tournament in past decades has clearly been the dominance of the California schools, the members of the Pacific 10 Conference. No one will forget back in 1978, the singles title for Stanford's John McEnroe. In 1968, it was Stan Smith of USC. And the one picture that everyone wants to see when they come in the Tennis Hall of Fame is that of the 1965 titleist, Arthur Ashe of UCLA. The tide has started to turn, though, and today it's a day for the Southeastern Conference in the spotlight. Joining us now for our coverage, someone who's been on the beat as a writer and a broadcaster covering tennis for over 20 years, Steve Flink. And Steve, it's a battle today of certainly contrasting styles.
It is, Joe. We've got Wade McGuire, the #1 player from the University of Georgia, seeded 4th in this event. He was the runner-up a year ago, and by the way, a native of Richmond, as Arthur Ashe was. Now, Wade is a top-notch serve and volley player. He'll get in behind the first serve at all costs, attack as often as possible during the rallies, and try to shorten the points. He's opposed by Chris Woodruff of the University of Tennessee, the top-ranked player in college tennis. He's a sophomore. Woodruff has a big forehand, hits with a lot of pace off both sides, has quite a good first serve himself, but he will try to rule from the baseline. That's what makes this clash so interesting. Can Woodruff counterattack with enough efficiency to stop McGuire from ruling at the net? That's why I'm looking forward to this confrontation.
And we're very fortunate weather-wise on the campus of the University of Georgia. Temperature in the low 80s, just an ideal day. The humidity should not be a factor as we get ready for the matchup between Georgia and Tennessee, an all-Southeastern Conference final in tennis for the first time since 1985. Wade McGuire is the senior. He was a finalist last year, losing to Alex O'Brien of Stanford, so the experience factor definitely on the 6'2", 170-pounder, the native of Richmond. And his trip to the finals, well, 5 wins, and one of the most difficult was against the #8 player in the country, Mark Merklin of Florida, before that difficult 3-set victory yesterday in the semifinals over Sanguinetti of UCLA, and that was the first set. As you can see that he dropped on his trip to the finals. Chris Woodruff, on the other hand, a sophomore in his second year, a native of Knoxville at 6'3", 160 pounds, a baseliner, a counterattacker. His most difficult one also came in the third match. That was against Mike Sell, the #11 ranked player out of Georgia, before beating El Sawi of LSU in the semifinals. And it's going to be Woodruff serving to begin the match. And what a start for Chris Woodruff. Produced the beautiful angle.
Perfect slice serve wide in that deuce court. Should give him some confidence right at the outset of this match. He has an underrated first serve. Does not come in behind it, but it's explosive enough to win points outright, as we saw right there.
Well, the long rallies should benefit Woodruff in the long run. And if you're wondering how many times they've got together before, this is the 4th career meeting between Woodruff and McGuire. It was a 6-love, 6-2 victory in the last matchup, though, in the SEC tournament, and it belonged to Wade McGuire.
And McGuire won the first 15 points of that match, got off to a blazing start. So I'm sure Woodruff's delighted to win the first 2 points of this match.
30-love. Blistering forehand. The first 3 points of the match belonging to Chris Woodruff, who is the first NCAA singles finalist in the history of the University of Tennessee.
We're going to take a look at Woodruff's explosive forehand. Watch him from just inside the baseline crack this forehand winner. Just a little bit of topspin, but great depth.
number 1 ranked player in the country, Chris Woodruff. 40 love. And he holds to begin the match at love. A very impressive start for the sophomore from Knoxville. Beautiful day in Athens, Georgia. We'll continue with the Division I title match when we return.
I feel Denorex tingling on this side, nothing on the head and shoulder side. I love that tingle, so I tried Denorex for my dandruff. It really came through. The flaking stopped, my scalp doesn't itch.
Denorex with conditioner is the serious dandruff shampoo.
I've switched to Denorex.
Final question, ladies. How would you save the planet?
Tax credits for education. Aggressive environmental legislation. Which planet?
Why do pageants still grate on a curve?
Queen of the entire planet.
Try a less filling beer with a lot more taste. Bud Dry. With a beer this different,
What a surprise.
it's no contest.
McDonald's, huh? Yeah. Smells good. Thanks.
If this ride were any longer, you'd have to fight for those fries.
We're stuck.
Call 1-800-528-1234 or your travel agent. Your best bet is a Best Western.
ESPN's presentation of the 109th NCAA Men's Tennis Championships is being brought to you by Denorex, the serious dandruff shampoo. The young man from Tennessee, Chris Woodruff, he's trying to become the first number 1 seed to win since Robbie Weiss of Pepperdine back in '88. He held serve at love, and now it's McGuire's first try. But the unforced errors, despite the victory for Wade McGuire in his matchup with Sanguinetti of UCLA, well, the unforced errors came from the victor, McGuire.
Sanguinetti, of course, slowed him down, made him create his own pace. Today, Woodruff's going to try and set the pace from the backcourt, and thus far he's done a terrific job.
Great get by Chris Woodruff.
But he made an excellent low return down the line, which forced McGuire not to be able to get too much on that volley. He tried to angle it off, but it was very hard to put the volley away. Look at it, low return, stretch volley. He angles it nicely, does McGuire, but watch the running forehand whip down the line for the clean winner.
Chris Woodruff took a very long warm-up period. In fact, just until about 10 to 15 minutes before the start of the match, it seemed like he took a longer, more intense warm-up period, possibly. The only mistake so far for Chris Woodruff, as it's 15-30.
First point of the match. Wade McGuire on the board after losing 6 consecutive points here at the outset of this final. That's where McGuire is so good. His alacrity in the forecourt can sometimes be remarkable. He covers the net so well. It was a decent first volley, but he was really stretched out there in the second volley. Controlled it very nicely for the winner. Wade McGuire in isolation here. Watch him now on the stretch volley to win this point. Good control of the racket head. Drops it over the net for the winner.
30 all. just barely long. Almost an exceptional return by Chris Woodruff. 3 straight points for McGuire now.
It was a good first serve, though, on that last point. It would have been a very difficult return for Woodruff to make, and McGuire was coming in behind it. So he forced that error. Critical point.
40-30. Two players with outstanding forehands, banging it out from the baseline, and that time it belonged to McGuire.
And we saw in that last rally the problem that McGuire has, because he's explosive off the forehand side, but he can only be steady and solid off the backhand. Woodruff can attack from the baseline off either side, so it's going to put McGuire under a lot of pressure whenever he gets in a prolonged baseline exchange. That last point he was somewhat fortunate to win, but he does not want to be on the defensive in those types of exchanges.
So McGuire holds. We're even at 1 in the first set. Capitalized on that second serve.
And that is his best shot, the cross-court forehand. So many players with big forehands hit the inside-out forehand more skillfully. But McGuire just rips that return to serve cross-court, standard cross-court, moves around, drills it, not heavy topspin, perfectly placed cross-court.
Love 15. Beautiful pass on the forehand by Woodruff.
Perfect pass from Woodruff, but the right play from McGuire. He just simply didn't do enough with that backhand approach shot, but he has to find a way to start working his way in, as he did on that last point. That's the kind of play that he wants to make repeatedly in this match.
And we could see the struggle early between the two, trying to dictate the tempo. They both talked about that to both of us earlier today. 15 all. A rare net approach for Chris Woodruff, and it pays off.
Indeed it was. He will not come in often. Usually off a short ball, he'll go for an outright winner. He's particularly adept at making that play, pounding short balls away for winners. But this last time, he decides to make the standard approach in, and a nice cross-court forehand volley off a low ball wins the point, forces that mistake for McGuire.
30-15. Second ace for Chris Woodruff.
Chris Woodruff's reminiscent in so many ways of both Jim Courier and Yvonne Lendl. Very explosive and penetrating, authoritative backcourt style. And the big first serve does not hurt him in the least.
40-15. Woodruff gambled, it didn't pay off that time, but interesting that we've already seen him come in a couple of times.
Surprising, but I think we saw some of his vulnerability in the forecourt there. He's not as good a stretch volleyer and doesn't anticipate as well as McGuire, so there on that low backhand volley, he was unable to control it. I don't think McGuire would be disappointed to see Woodruff approach the net more often than normal.
What a weekend for the Southeastern Conference. This matchup between two players from the SEC. In fact, the semis, 3 of 4 from the SEC. Only Sanguinetti of UCLA breaking up an all SEC semi. 40-30. double fault for Chris Woodruff. Advantage Woodruff, and Chris has said so often over the last couple of days that he feels whatever he is deficient in on the court that he makes up in mental toughness.
And he showed it in the semifinal against El Sawi. He was up a set in 5-2, served for the match, had 3 match points at 5-3, but then eventually had to come back from 1-3 down in the final set to complete that triumph.
His coach looking on Mike DePalmer in his 13th year with the Volunteers. And after it was deuce, the next 2 for Chris Woodruff. We are on serve with Woodruff up 2-1 in the opening set.
Can you handle this?
Try me.
In a car and driver competition of these world-class cars, the overall winner was the BMW 740i.
I can handle that.
They judged us on top speed,
Beautiful machine.
braking,
My kind of car.
acceleration, and on luxury, comfort, and our favorite, handling.
I can handle that.
And of course, it was #1 in the fun to drive category.
Boy, I could really handle that.
You can handle it at your Tri-State BMW dealer.
You'll find the biggest names in golf equipment at discount prices at Custom Golf in Stamford. And just like our custom clubs, we can change their loft and even adjust their lie to keep the club face square. Whether you're built like a 2-iron or a little lower to the ground like a wedge and have a flatter swing. And of course, we'll match the shaft flex to your swing speed. Custom fit at discount prices, only at Custom Golf in Stamford. It costs no more to play with clubs that fit.
It's been a strange trip for Wade McGuire to his second straight final appearance. No one could have really anticipated. First, he was in an NCAA college, the agony and the ecstasy. Well, the agony, the knee surgery, right when he arrived in Georgia. Then after he goes to the NCAA doubles semifinals, he breaks an ankle. A golf cart rolls over his ankle. But the last 2 years, so much success for the young man. He is down 2-1 to Woodruff as we're on serve in the opening set of the championship match. They call him the Richmond Rifle because of his incredible forehand, and you saw it right there.
McGuire waits for his opening now on the running forehand down the line. He sees the open court, hits a clean winner.
Love. As we mentioned at the top of the telecast, the experience belonging to McGuire after going to the finals last year before losing to Stanford's Alex O'Brien. And when I asked him about it yesterday, he said, I was just happy to make it to the finals. I was so excited. Now I'll use that experience.
Perfect serve and volley. He pulled him wide with the slice serve. It's his best serve and volley combination thus far. That's the kind of pattern he's looking for. Pull him off the court, then volley into the open court. And McGuire does that extremely well. Watch him move in, leaps into the court, comes in quickly for the first volley, wide open court.
And that's the way Wade McGuire can dictate the tempo to Chris Woodruff. He holds at love, and we're even at 2 in the opening set of the NCAA Division I championship match.
McGuire will be looking to make a move here on Woodruff's serve. Woodruff had a very easy opening service game, which he held at love, but the last time around was a tough deuce game. McGuire pressed him a great deal more.
early we can see the strategy from Chris Woodruff. Keep it on the backhand side of McGuire and manufacture as many long points as possible.
Absolutely, but I think that he'd like to try and be more forcing in his approach as well. And in that last point, he wasn't able to do so, and he actually gave McGuire the opening to come in. McGuire hit a deep cross-court backhand, forced a short ball, and should have been able to make that approach shot.
15 love. Tough forehand from Woodruff. So you move McGuire around on the baseline very effectively.
Well, what makes it outstanding is that Woodruff can force those errors and hit those winners and near winners from behind the baseline. It's very difficult to contain him off that side.
The sophomore against the senior. 30 love for the sophomore. And as they're calling the matchup here in Georgia, Big Red against Big Orange. Big Red, Wade McGuire, the redhead against the orange, member of the Volunteers tennis team. Another double fault, the second for Chris Woodruff, 30-15. To McGuire's backhand once again. He left a couple short, the opportunity for Woodruff to come in.
And the approach shot was so forceful, it just made the volley elementary. It was such an easy volley. Good exchange now. Short ball from McGuire. An excellent angle on the approach. Just opens the court wide open for the forehand volley winner.
40-15. We remain on serve in the opening set with Woodruff leading McGuire 3-2.
Susie Hamilton, U.S. middle distance runner.
What was good enough yesterday just isn't good enough today. You can't hang on to old victories. That's what performance is all about. That's why I like this stuff so much. It's not the old way of doing things. Shampoo and conditioner in one, Pert Plus. It gives me the results I'm after. Soft, manageable hair with not a lot of fuss. Who needs the old way of getting there?
Pert Plus, also in dandruff control.
St. Croix sounds great. See your travel agent or call us.
The experience of senior Wade McGuire going up against the sophomore Chris Woodruff. Woodruff right now leading 3-2 in the first set. We are on serve, and what a home court advantage for the young man you're looking at now, Wade McGuire. Crowd in the neighborhood of about 3,500 on hand here in Athens, Georgia. Superb first serve.
He's had success going wide to the forehand in that deuce court.
Manuel Diaz, 5th year as the head coach for the Georgia Bulldogs, and what a tough act he had to follow. And Dan McGill, who was here for 34 years and one of the great names in collegiate tennis. Woodruff played it perfectly.
Excellent inside-out forehand set that play up.
30 love. McGuire down by a game, but we remain on serve in the opening set of the finals. The serve and volleyer with the first 3 points. Woodruff trying to become the third sophomore to take the title over the last 4 years. Texas sophomore Steve Bryan won in 1990, and it was the sophomore from Stanford, Jared Palmer, who won it in 1991.
11 consecutive points won on serve by McGuire since love 30 in the opening game.
So again, McGuire with the booming serve holds at love. We're tied at 3. I remember the USC coach, and USC did win the team championship on Tuesday, beating the Georgia Bulldogs. Dick Leach said this was one of the toughest environments his team has ever played in. It's got to be tough on Chris Woodruff this afternoon as well.
Woodruff with the advantage of serving first in this set. Wade McGuire had that problem in his semifinal against David Sanguinetti. Woodruff maintaining great depth and control of that rally, dominated the exchange, and finally provoked that forehand mistake from Wade McGuire. But McGuire was serving from behind all the way through the third set of his semifinal. There were no breaks in that final set, which he finally won in the tiebreak. But it's very difficult. He twice served to save the match and came through.
Off the tape. It's wide, and it's 15 all. That is the third ace for Chris Woodruff.
Served down the middle, and he certainly confounded McGuire with that tactic. It's a flat serve. He's got a little bit of slice to bring it in, and he catches the stripe there. Perfect, accurate serve down the center.
30-15. With the winner on the forehand side, but the surprise there in the middle of the point, a couple of slice backhands.
He wants to mix that up. It's the right way for him to play against a big hitter like Woodruff. A very smart play. Change the pace, slow him down, and eventually win the long exchange. Very good baseline play from Wade McGuire.
Both came out looking to dictate the tempo. No one with the edge quite yet. 3 all in the opening set and 30 all.
Volley drop wins that point for Wade McGuire, who made a remarkable recovery in the middle of the point by getting to a short drop volley of Woodruff's and lobbing over him. One of the more interesting points we've had in this contest. Watch Wade McGuire, though, at the end. It's a half volley drop. Delicate, elegant touch. Wins him this point.
And now it produces the first break opportunity of this final match. It belongs to Wade McGuire.
Woodruff trying to get a breather there at the backstop. That was a very taxing point.
Strong backhand. And he kept it deep.
McGuire has got to get more depth on a lot of his service returns there. The last one simply didn't have any depth or penetration, and therefore Woodruff was was able to tee off on that backhand down the line. He deserved that point. McGuire would have been very fortunate had that forehand cleared the net.
So Chris Woodruff escapes the first break opportunity for Wade McGuire. Deuce.
Net! Oh!
McGuire was looking for the call, but he was hugging the baseline at the time. I just think he misjudged it. It had more topspin than he realized.
And the chair is David Giltz from LeBaron, Virginia.
He's not going to overrule on anything that close. Watch McGuire. See, he's hugging the baseline, tries to make a quick pickup, and I'm not sure he could really tell if it was in or out. Certainly looked good.
We saw McGuire yesterday he really came unglued on a line call in the second set against Sanguinetti. It's on the line. And the fourth ace for Chris Woodruff as he takes the last 3 points, escapes the break, and holds to take a 4-3 lead.
This man has agreed to take part in an experiment about sleep. First, we told him that Travelodge has added a lot of little extras to make his stay more enjoyable. Things like free fresh brewed coffee in his room, a free newspaper, and free local phone calls. Did these nice little touches make it easier for him to enjoy his stay? Let's just say he slept very well. Stay satisfied. Stay with Travelodge.
He designed it, challenged it, but only conquered it twice. Jack Nicklaus returns with the world's greatest golfers to the Memorial Tournament. Thursday and Friday afternoon, live on ESPN.
It's crazy. They love it, but that's why they do it. They're the relentless men and women of sports, doing what most people think is impossible. Max Out, weekdays on ESPN.
The nation's #1 ranked player, Chris Woodruff, eluding a break point for Chris McGuire. And welcome back to Athens, Georgia. Joel Myers, along with Steve Flink. We are on serve with McGuire down 4-3 to Woodruff, and the serve of Woodruff right now, the difference.
He's come up with a lot of clutch aces. Very fine serving thus far. But McGuire, since he was down love 30 in his first service game, hasn't lost a point on his serve. He's won the last 12.
And a moving the other way. Set it up beautifully.
Yes, he did. The second serve really trapped Woodruff. Set up a very easy forehand for Wade McGuire. Has to try to stay back behind the second serve and work his way in, but he should be getting in behind most of the first deliveries.
Oh!
15 love. Good hustle by Chris Woodruff to get to the drop shot.
Covered it very well. That was actually a well-disguised drop shot. Nicely timed, it seemed, by McGuire. Watch him now. He's just inside the baseline. A good down-the-line drop. He thinks he's got him. Now, but that was a down-the-middle response, and that set up an easy volley. That was the right play. Woodruff able to come in down the middle off the drop, cut the angles off.
Surprisingly, Woodruff already to the net 6 times in this match.
Again, Wade McGuire challenging Woodruff on that forehand side. As long as he can swing it wide and low as he does there with the slice, he's successful. You just don't want to give Woodruff the chance to set up.
30-15.
Oh!
position between the two players, trying to catch the other going in the wrong direction.
But McGuire thought when he moved in there, he had to play an awkward volley. He thought he was going to be able to pick up a higher volley. He had to dig up a low one and then had the net taken away from him.
30 all. It caught the tape.
Bad judgment from Wade McGuire. It would not have been a difficult volley to play. It was a high volley, which I think he could have knocked off rather easily, but he decided to let it go, and his judgment proved erroneous. Watch him now as he moves in behind the serve. It's a high return to serve. He served into the body, can only be blocked back by Woodruff, but it drops inside the baseline safely.
And now it creates the first break opportunity for Chris Woodruff in the match.
Oh!
Of forehands wins that point for Woodruff. 3 successive blistering forehands, increasing the velocity with every one. Poor Wade McGuire was trapped behind the baseline helplessly.
And the strategy is not wavered for Chris Woodruff, as he'll now be serving for the opening set of the NCAA championship match. He has stained the backhand of Wade McGuire, which is obviously the weakest part of his game.
Absolutely. It's the right move for him to make, but I'm sure that McGuire will look back on that last game and wish that he had played that volley at 30 all. Set it up with a serve, high return, lets it go, and it drops inside the baseline. That's what put him down, break point.
It was long.
And that was a courageous move on the part of McGuire, coming in on the forehand side, but he got terrific depth on that backhand approach shot. Placed it deep into the forehand corner.
Love 15.
McGuire thought that serve was long, but didn't get a call.
That is the 5th ace already for Chris Woodruff. From up here, it looked like it was a little bit long. Another look.
We'll look at it again. He serves flat to the backhand side. Take a look at it drop. Very difficult to tell on that camera.
A chair does not overrule. 15 all. Complete miss hit by McGuire.
He was trying to move around and play a forehand. The ball jammed him. He was crowded by that serve. Didn't get the positioning he wanted.
Woodruff now 2 points away from the opening set. Six aces now for Chris Woodruff.
He served it extraordinarily well throughout this first set. And he's had great success by going wide to McGuire's backhand on that ad court. It's very tough to protect that, being a two-handed player. He's really got to look for him to go down the middle more often. And that's a tougher serve for a right-hander to play, to go out wide to the backhand in that ad court. Not many right-handers hit that serve well.
Double set point Woodruff. And another great first serve set it all up as Chris Woodruff from the Tennessee Volunteers takes the first set for the Georgia Bulldogs. Wade McGuire.
taste that's pure delight. New Pringles sour cream and onion light, that's right. Rich sour cream and tangy onion. Mmm, that taste is really something, cause the dip is in the chips, so delicious on your lips. Look, compare Pringles to regular chips. Pringles have less fat and they're less greasy too. The proof's in front of you. So grab a bunch of this, not that, and get a whole lot of taste and less of the fat. New Pringles sour cream and onion light, that's right. Once you pop, you, and you can't stop.
From Red Grange to the modern grace of Olympian Tracy Corkins, the flavor and pageantry of all 21 men's and women's collegiate sports come alive at the NCAA Visitor Center. Come celebrate the magic moments in college sports at the NCAA Visitor Center, open year-round in Kansas City.
I thought going away to college meant I didn't have to answer to anybody anymore. I could stay out all night, tailgate before a game, go to a bar after. One Saturday, we even took our victory celebration on the road. I drove straight into a drunk driving conviction, which means that when I get to this question about ever being convicted of a crime, I have to answer yes.
We are at the Henry Field Stadium on the campus of the University of Georgia in Athens. Joel Myers along with Steve Flink, and welcome back once again on a brilliant afternoon. It is Michael Pernfors center court. That is the setting, and Michael Pernfors before Wade McGuire, the last one to make it back-to-back finals. In fact, Pernfors won consecutive titles in '84 and '85. But the opening set belonging to the young man from Tennessee, Chris Woodruff, the #1 ranked player in the country. McGuire, #2 overall coming in. Another unforced error for Wade McGuire. And now let's see if he puts too much pressure on himself, because we saw that at times yesterday in his semifinal match with Sanguinetti.
And yet he still managed to endure. He managed to get through that match. Difficult contest. Didn't lose his serve in that final set, which was a tremendous uphill struggle.
Good first serve. 15 all.
McGuire knows that that first set could have gone his way. They were locked at 3-all. He had a chance to break in the 7th game, had a break point and did not break, and then ended up losing his own serve in the next game. So it just came down to that one crucial break.
Another brilliant first serve by Wade McGuire.
McGuire is now beginning to move that serve around very skillfully. He'd been serving wide in that deuce court most of the time. This time he sliced it into his body on the backhand side.
Oh!
Another call that Wade McGuire did not like. 30-15. Again, another great forehand to the backhand of Wade McGuire.
McGuire has to find a way not to allow him to have that much time to set up. He needs more depth and more change of pace. He should actually be probably throwing in more slice backhands to break up the rhythm of Woodruff. That's the biggest problem. Woodruff gets in a rhythm in a rally and starts hitting harder and harder with every stroke and with increasing accuracy and depth.
30 all.
That's a superb down-the-line backhand pass on the run off an excellent first volley. Woodruff must be delighted with that stroke. He had so little room to pass on this shot. Watch it now. It's a good, decent first serve. Low return. Watch the first volley. Low down the line, but on the run with so little room to spare, he threads the needle.
The momentum belonging to Chris Woodruff. And now a break point for the Tennessee Volunteer.
Halt!
McGuire staying with the forehand on the short return.
What a roundhouse forehand that was. He just wound up and cranked that stroke on a reverse down the line trajectory. It was a remarkable stroke. Took advantage of the short return. Nice way to save a break point.
We are at deuce.
Halt!
And a double fault.
Now, McGuire was called for a foot fault on that first serve, which I think threw him up. It's the first time in this match. He was called a bunch of times in his semifinal against Sanguinetti. But he manages to seem to be able to put that behind him. He's had a history of footfall problems, but he says he just tries to forget about it, not try and change too much, and just get on with the task at hand.
Another break opportunity. And what a return. Just punched with the backhand. So the second set starts with a break for Chris Woodruff. He's already taken the opening set, 6-3.
You lost, little boy?
You in the wrong place, man. Get him! Come here!
To Victor, this isn't just a drawing, it's a cry for help. Learn to protect your children from drugs and violence. Call now and take a bite out of crime.
The researchers just gave me the Duo unit today. The graphics on these CD games are incredible. Sounds great through the stereo. Tried Sherlock Holmes 2 with digitized video. Excellent mystery game. Put in Lords of Thunder last night for the first time. I've got it on pause right now, so I won't die. They're going to offer the Duo unit with 5 free games. That's $250 worth for nothing. Not bad. If they come back today to pick up the Duo system, they won't be getting very far.
Take a look at that. There's the key. The first serve percentage of McGuire, which is only a 55%. He really needs to be up in Woodruff's territory at 70. And then look at the winners. 12 outright winners for Woodruff compared to 6 for McGuire. The unforced error is almost even at 6-4. High standard from both players in that department.
An early break for Chris Woodruff, who is serving.
Good variation on the serve from Woodruff, who's been serving a good many flat serves for aces there. He sliced it into the body. McGuire unable to handle the backhand return from the deuce court, which is one of the toughest shots in the game.
15 low. And now the unforced error is coming from Wade McGuire, as Woodruff has not deviated from his game plan. Give him credit for great strategy coming in. He's mixed up his serves, and he's also stayed to the backhand of McGuire.
Just executed well, though. As soon as he's had an opening in a rally, he's really taken advantage of it. Just forcing the play throughout. There's another example of it. He's behind the baseline and just laces that forehand with extraordinary velocity from a deep position, hits a near winner. There's very little you can do to defend against that.
Well, the book coming in was the Richmond rifle had the better forehand. That's Wade McGuire from Richmond, Virginia. But the big forehand winners early in this match coming from Chris Woodruff, 40 love. One thing Chris Woodruff has effectively done, he's taken the crowd out of the match so far.
Such a concentrated performance. You're absolutely right.
40-15. Third double fault for Chris Woodruff. 2 straight points for Wade McGuire. And on that side, you just saw him look up. both players mentioned that side of the court yesterday was a problem with the Sun.
Yes, I spoke to Manny Diaz about that, the Georgia coach, and he feels that it's not apparent, even from his vantage point at courtside, but feels it just takes a minor adjustment in the toss for the players to deal with that.
40-30.
Halt!
Open court for the volley, set up by the cross-court backhand approach shot. McGuire, down triple game point, has worked his way back to deuce adroitly. Watch him here. He hits the cross-court backhand approach. It opens up the court. He's got his man on the dead run, and there's a routine forehand volley winner.
Move Woodruff around on the baseline effectively. And we're at deuce. Advantage Woodruff, who is the first singles finalist from the University of Tennessee. What an honor. There's such a rich tradition, of course, at Georgia with so many successful teams. The Bulldogs lost in the team finals just on Tuesday to USC.
And Mike DePalmer, in his 13th season as coach at Tennessee, must be more than happy with the way this match is going. DePalmer, has one of the better strategic minds in college tennis.
Advantage Woodruff. Just long, and Woodruff holds. He's still in control after taking the opening set, and now it's too low.
Every season is more of a physical challenge, but after 26 years in the majors, I've learned to take care of myself. Like now, when my muscles are sore, I take Advil. Just a couple of Advil, and I'm ready to go another 9 innings. To last as long as I have, you got to stick with what works.
Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Major League excitement. 5 nights a week on ESPN.
It's an offensive explosion on America's Game of the Week. Detroit's King of Swing, Cecil Fielder, leads the Tigers against the Mariner. Tonight, live on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
We bring you back to the Division I championship at the University of Georgia in Athens. Joel Myers along with Steve Flink. McGuire serving. Down. Love 2.
The momentum has slipped precipitously away from Wade McGuire. He's lost 5 straight games. He was with him till 3-all in the first set, had a break point in that 7th game of the first set against Woodruff, but it's been all Woodruff since.
A break here could mean the match, and Woodruff has taken the first point.
Taking it with great authority. Good return of serve, set up the backhand winner. That's more of the standard Chris Woodruff play that I expected, rather than really trying to approach the net. He takes a short ball and just goes for an outright winner. It doesn't give you a play at all. So it makes him so devastating as a backcourt player. Different type of attacking, but attacking nevertheless.
Well, yesterday when McGuire got in trouble, he seemed to rush things a little bit. Let's see now, as he's struggling, if he rushes once again. First 2 points belonging to Chris Woodruff.
That last game may have been critical. McGuire had worked his way back from 40-love down, back to deuce, but unable to break.
Solid play on the approach by Wade McGuire.
Very well placed. A tougher shot than it may have looked like. It was a low ball, but he managed to place it inside out off his forehand and make Woodruff cover a lot of court. Here's McGuire. Watch him come in and play that nice deft touch off his forehand side. And that's able to win him the point. The response is wide off the backhand. That return is just too good.
Came back at his feet after he got the wide angle on the serve, and now it sets up a double break point for Chris Woodruff.
Wade McGuire had an excellent stretch of serving midway through the first set. However, having increasing difficulty holding serve ever since. Has not mixed up his first serve as well as he did in his semifinal match.
Got it behind Woodruff, who was moving the other way.
McGuire knows he has no alternative but to pull this game out. He cannot afford to go down 2 breaks here in the second set against a player of the caliber of Woodruff.
Still a break opportunity for Woodruff. Woodruff thought it was wide, but it was on the line, according to the linesman. He's still looking over there.
Serves with great spin and penetration wide to the back, and appears to be right on the sideline.
And it brings us to deuce. Both sides by Chris Woodruff.
And Woodruff has been relentless off the ground. He simply is not allowing McGuire to slow him down. McGuire is trying to answer with medium pace shots deep down the middle in order to find a way to work his way in or to take Woodruff out of his rhythm, but it's just been unsuccessful for the most part.
This is now break point number 3 in this, the third game of the second set for Chris Woodruff. McGuire responds.
There's a gutsy stroke there off a reasonably deep return of serve. But McGuire used his best shot to full effect, the cross-court forehand coming through for the winner yet again.
Another big first serve. He's talking to the chair. Did it get a part of the tape?
He overruled. He just called it a fault.
Well, the chair, David Giltz.
Giltz overruled. It's his second serve.
And it turns out to be a big call from the chair. So it brings us back to deuce. And check that, it's advantage Woodruff. Nick McGuire, father of Wade McGuire, obviously very concerned after his son dropped the first set. And another break point, the fourth now for Chris Woodruff. Court for Wade McGuire.
That was a first-rate point from both ends of the court. McGuire finally winning it there with that volley into the open court, but wonderful court coverage from Woodruff. Watch McGuire come in behind the serve. He's forced to play a low first volley, gets good depth on it. There's the running forehand down the line. Now watch this court coverage, but there's the open court for the volley.
Back to deuce for the third time. By far the longest game of the match, and it could be the most critical.
Certainly critical for McGuire, more important for him than it is for Woodruff.
Another unforced error for Wade McGuire.
Well, it's the cumulative effect. That's what's really happening here. Being pressured so severely. The ferocity of Woodruff's baseline game has been a tough thing for Wade McGuire to deal with. He doesn't dare come in behind that second serve.
Break point number 5 now for Woodruff.
And it's been difficult even getting into an authoritative position coming in behind his first serve. And I think McGuire's first serve has let him down to some degree.
An easy winner after the short return.
There was an excellent serve that set up the short forehand. McGuire wisely waited for the ball to bounce, didn't try and come in and make a volley.
You'd have thought that McGuire had the advantage coming in after the results of their last match. McGuire won it easily at 11-2. It hasn't been that way so far.
There's good placement on the return. That was a good serve. Woodruff knew he couldn't make too offensive a play, and so he wisely just hit it down that line, medium pace and low, and forced that error. A very difficult stretch for McGuire to make.
Walking the tightrope once again, though, as this is the 6th break opportunity in this game for Chris Woodruff.
Call for the football again, second time.
And that does it for Chris Woodruff. He finally comes up with a break, and he is in control, leading 3-love in the second set after taking the opener 6-3.
Call 1-800-528-1234 or your travel agent. Your best bet is a Best Western.
David Robinson.
Take the time.
Take it deep. Take a breather. Take a shot.
Take it all.
Take a message.
Take the time.
Now.
Later this evening, it's ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. And don't miss those fireworks. Baseball's most explosive attack, the Detroit Tigers take on Ken Griffey and the Seattle Mariners. That all comes your way a little bit later tonight, 8 Eastern on ESPN. And welcome back once again to the University of Georgia at Athens. Joel Myers along with Steve Flink. And a dominating performance by Chris Woodruff of the University of Tennessee.
It's remarkable when you consider that it was 3 games all in the first set, and that Woodruff was down break point in the 7th game at 3-all in that opening set, but he has now won 6 consecutive games with an unwavering baseline aggression.
And now, can this home court advantage bring Wade McGuire back? He is down already a couple of breaks in the second set.
There's the net point, 67% for McGuire, which is what you'd expect from the backcourt. He needed to be at least in the 50% range. 33% shows how severely he's been dominated from the backcourt.
The double fault for Chris Woodruff is his 4th. Not the way you want to start the game after coming up with another break. But it's his 7th ace to follow.
And he's moved that serve around in the ad court. This time he goes down the center in the ad court, goes down the middle. Many of his aces wide to the backhand in the ad court. He really is confounding McGuire with the direction, speed, and spin of the variation of that serve, but particularly the
speed of the first serve.
15 all. Ace number 8. This young man certainly has the momentum.
He's simply opening up his wings. He knows he's on a terrific roll here. Picked up a lot of momentum in this match ever since the middle of the first set.
How do you slow things down if you're Wade McGuire, Steve?
Well, I think Wade McGuire needs to start using more slice backhands. I think he could start hitting some floaters off the ground. He's got to do, and I think he could start coming in from deeper positions, gambling more to shorten the rallies. But
another solid first serve.
There's not much you can do when a guy serves double faults, but then serves 2 aces and then a near service winner on the last point.
So right now, the sophomore from Knoxville, Tennessee, dominating in the second set. And he holds at 15. We'll be right back to the University of Georgia.
Go ahead, make a wish. Then share it with your Allstate agent, who knows planning makes wishes come true, and who can outline a life insurance plan to assure family security and college funding and a comfy retirement are in the stars for you. So make your wish and trust it to your Allstate agent, who wants to be your agent for life.
Allow us to clear up a few things about pool care. New BioGuard Smart Sticks last up to twice as long as ordinary chlorine. Just 1 treatment a week keeps your pool sparkling clear. Clear enough? Relax. Bring your pool to BioGuard.
The NCAA, in partnership with the federal government's Office of Community Services, provides facilities and funding for the National Youth Sports Program. Now in its 24th year, NYSP offers economically disadvantaged youngsters important experiences in sports and enrichment activities through summer programs at NCAA colleges and universities.
A 4-love advantage for Chris Woodruff in the second set. After coming up with a break to take the first set over Wade McGuire, 6-3. It's a matchup of the top 2 ranked players in the country.
And look at those statistics for Woodruff. 73% when he comes in selectively. 53 from the backcourt.
It's an amazing run now for Chris Woodruff.
7 consecutive games for Woodruff. McGuire used the entire court on that last point. That's one of the few exchanges on his serve where he's been able to take control from the baseline, start moving Woodruff around, and finish the point off. But he had to do it with a very well-played backhand down the line.
And Woodruff really hasn't let McGuire get into position all that often to use his best weapon, and that's the forehand. 15-love. A rarity, an unforced error from Chris Woodruff. Love.
Third time, but this time it happens on a second serve from McGuire, so that's a double fault.
So another foot fault for Wade McGuire. He was called for better than a half dozen yesterday in his win over Sanguinetti in the semifinals.
That was off a first serve, and not a bad first serve at that. That's how well Woodruff is timing the ball right now. A superb return to serve for the outright winner.
2 straight points for Woodruff, 30 all.
McGuire has been plodding along. I don't think he's given up by any means, but tactically he's just at an impasse. There's so little he can do to overcome this adversity.
So finally, Wade McGuire holds in the second set, but still Woodruff in control, leading 4-1.
You'll find the biggest names in golf equipment at discount prices at Custom Golf in Stamford. And just like our custom clubs, we can change their loft and even adjust their lie to keep the club face square. Whether you're built like a 2-iron or a little lower to the ground like a wedge and have a flatter swing. And of course, we'll match the shaft flex to your swing speed. Custom fit at discount prices, only at Custom Golf in Stamford. It costs no more to play with clubs that fit.
Careless handling of industrial equipment. It's a major cause of electrocution in America. If you operate cranes or any type of off-road equipment, stay away from overhead power lines. It only takes a careless instant. Don't put your life on the line.
NCAA champion in 84 and 85. Michael Pernfors honored as the center court. Is the Michael Pernfors center court. And welcome back once again to Athens, Georgia. Joel Myers along with Steve Flink. And a 7-game run was just stopped finally as Wade McGuire held for the first time in the second set. But that has been the story. Effective first serves for Chris Woodruff.
He's dominated with that first serve. He threw in 4 in a row in the last game after double faulting on the first point. 2 of them aces, 2 of them service winners. Just been able to win too many points outright off that first serve.
Another missed hit by McGuire. And let's also give credit to the coach for Chris Woodruff, Mike DePalmer, because they came in with a great plan of attack. Early, it was stay to the backhand of Wade McGuire. Don't give him an opportunity to get momentum with a forehand.
No, I spoke to him after the semifinals, and he had a clear idea of how he wanted Woodruff to play this match. He is a very sound strategic thinker, and he planned this one to perfection.
Nearly another ace, a little bit long, but 8 aces thus far for Chris Woodruff. 30 love. And now it just seems like McGuire is trying to be a little bit too aggressive at times, trying to do too much.
He's just become unraveled. He's lost his court sense. Making mistakes like that, those are mental mistakes as well. And again, we take a look at the stats. Excellent serving from Woodruff to be up in the 70-72 range, but McGuire lagging in the 50s.
Exceptional first serve again by Chris Woodruff.
And again, Woodruff is so confident off the forehand today. Yet another winner, a clean outright winner from behind the baseline. There's not much McGuire can do to respond to that.
Well, McGuire must feel like Woodruff did the last time they met when Woodruff lost 11-2 to McGuire. Not quite that badly today, but it is the NCAA title matchup.
Well, this kind of tennis that Woodruff is playing, it really is a blend of Jim Courier and Yvonne Lendl. A big serve backed up by tremendous power off the ground, particularly the forehand side.
It seems like there's even more pace and power behind the backhand of Chris Woodruff than we saw in his semifinal match yesterday.
Well, I think because it's partially set up by the fact that he's timing his forehand so well and taking charge of the rally so early that now he's just hitting the ball a ton off both sides.
15 love. It's a 5-1 lead in the second set for Chris Woodruff. He's already broken Wade McGuire 2 times in the second set after taking the first set 6-3, a game away from the NCAA championship.
Comes in and makes the approach volley. That's how confident he is. Normally, I wouldn't see him attempting that shot, but the backhand down the line set up a floating volley, forced a floating volley from McGuire, and in came Woodruff to finish off his business with a volley winner of his own. Watch him now. It was a good low return. There's the forehand volley down the line. A nice down-the-line pass sets up this play. Open court for the volley.
And now he's only 2 points away from the NCAA championship. 15-30. Well, another mistake by Wade McGuire, and now it is double match point for Chris Woodruff.
You're just trying to make those shots a little too good at this stage. That's what's happened to Wade McGuire. He's pressing, and it's understandable. From 3-all in the first set, he lost 7 consecutive games, and now here he is with his back to the wall down double match point.
It's long, and he escapes one. (30-40). Still match point for Woodruff.
It's been the story of the day for Wade McGuire. First serves missing by inches repeatedly.
Drop on the volley by Wade McGuire.
Well, I wonder whether Chris Woodruff might be thinking back to his semifinal against Tamer Al-Sawi. He led a set in 5-2, then had 3 match points at 5-3 in that second set. Made 2 unforced errors and then double faulted, and Al-Sawi forced him into a third set. In fact, he had to come back from 1-3 down in the third to win that match.
Another championship point for Chris Woodruff. And back to your premise on yesterday's semifinal, he battled back to win that third set. It seems like his serve's much more on target today than we saw yesterday, though.
Oh, absolutely. No, he's been relentless. To be serving in that 70 to 72% range throughout as he has, you just don't give McGuire many chances to break you.
And there it is, Chris Woodruff, the 1993 NCAA singles champion. What a moment for the sophomore from Knoxville, Tennessee, with his coach, Mike DePalmer. The first finalist from the University of Tennessee is successful as he defeats Wade McGuire in straight sets, 6-3, 6-1. We'll be right back to Georgia to talk to the winner.
Yep, I'm part of the management team now, Mama.
Oh, baby, I'm so proud of you.
It's only afternoons.
But still, it's a promotion.
I gotta get back to work.
Guess what, Anna?
Calvin is the new manager at McDonald's.
Straight up. Cal's been honored at Mickey D's, so they gave him his props.
He owns a McDonald's and just got his property.
For real?
Calvin?
Calvin that used to hang out on the corner?
So you own McDonald's?
No, not yet.
In the event you just want to relax. In events that you don't. United States Virgin Islands. See your travel agent or call us.
I feel Denorex tingling on this side, nothing on the head and shoulder side. I love that tingle, so I tried Denorex for my dandruff. It really came through. The flaking stopped, my scalp doesn't itch.
Denorex with conditioners, the serious dandruff shampoo.
I've switched to Denorex.
So Chris Woodruff wins the NCAA championship in 1993, 6-3, 6-1 over Wade McGuire. A convincing triumph, and Chris joins me now. Congratulations. What do you think was the key to this triumph?
my serve. I served extremely well today. Made almost all my first serves, which was a big plus because the wind was blowing.
Now, it was a very competitive battle up until, it seemed to me, till 3-all in the first set. You saved a break point, then broke him in the next game. Was that really where the pendulum swung?
Yeah, I got a crucial break, I guess, to go up, and yeah, I think it was. That gave me a lot of momentum. Although I have to admit, in the back of my mind, he's such a great come-from-behind player. There's always that little urge, you know, that says, look out, Chris, that one break isn't going to do it. So he's a good come-from-behind player, so I had to be very careful.
Do you think going through a difficult struggle in the semifinals against El Sawi helped you, particularly the fact that he saved 3 match points and forced you into a third, made you sort of really bear down hard when you built the lead in the second set today?
Well, I think when I played El Sawi and I had a chance to serve for it, that helped me a lot because I had the same exact feeling when I had match points on Wade. You know, I got goosebumps, and I think playing him did help me.
What kind of strategy? I mean, it seemed to me that Mike DePalma, your coach, and the two of you came up with a really good strategy for this match. You'd had close wins over him in the past, but never a decisive win like this, and then you come off a decisive loss. So what was the major strategic change for this match that turned the tide?
I was trying to get the ball to his backhand. That was the game plan, because every time I would get the ball to his forehand, he'd hit a winner or he'd force me. But the strategy today was to get the ball to his backhand.
Now, what about the future? There's been a lot of talk about would you turn pro or would you not turn pro, and would your father like you to turn pro, and would your coach like you to turn pro? Can you clear up the confusion for us?
I'm afraid I can't. I don't even know. I'm going to just talk to my coach and talk to my dad, and I'm sure we'll work something out for the best.
Well, listen, we wish you good luck on the pro circuit, and I certainly think you'll look forward to playing the U.S. Open at the end of the summer.
Yeah, I can't even believe that I'm going to be playing up there. I'm looking forward to that with a passion.
Congratulations.
Thanks
Chris
a lot.
Woodruff, the champion in 1993 of the NCAA crown. He wins the individual championship, and he wins it convincingly by scores of 6-3, 6-1 over Wade McGuire. Chris Woodruff, NCAA titleist. Back to Joel Myers.
All right, thank you, Steve. So an overwhelming performance, and Chris Woodruff also becomes the very first champion in singles from the University of Tennessee. We'll be right back to Athens, Georgia.
Lisa's great, but there's something about Sharon. Sharon's okay, but Lisa, whew, what a knockout.
Why is the grass always greener on the other side?
You lucky dog. Lucky dog.
Why ask why? Try a less filling beer with a lot more taste. Bud Dry. It's one thing
Nice.
that's beyond question.
Call 1-800-528-1234 or your travel agent. Your best bet is a Best Western.
Dave Johnson, U.S. decathlete. The trick is knowing what to sweat and what to let go. That's what performance is all about. That's why I like this stuff. It's got performance written all over it. Shampoo and conditioner in one, Pert Plus. It always gives me exactly what I'm after. Hair that looks great without a lot of fuss.
Pert Plus, also in dandruff control.
ESPN's presentation of the 109th NCAA Men's Tennis Championships has been brought to you by Bud Dry, the less filling beer with a lot more taste. Why? Ask why. Later this evening on ESPN, it's Sunday Night Baseball. Baseball's most explosive attack, the Detroit Tigers, taking on Ken Griffey and the Seattle Mariners. That's all coming your way at 8 Eastern on ESPN. So the Tennessee Volunteers have their first NCAA singles champion as Chris Woodruff won it in straight sets, 6-3, 6-1. And let's take a look back now on championship point.
Solid low return, symbolic of the match. Woodruff forcing McGuire into yet another mistake.
And our match summary now.
That first serve percentage was the most telling statistic. 70% for Woodruff. He won almost 92% of the points when he got that first serve in. So he handcuffed McGuire in that department. McGuire never able to get his first serve percentage up where he needed it to be. Look at the unforced errors. That shows that this match was won, not lost. Only 26 total unforced errors in the match, but Woodruff with 8 more winners. Plus, in the deuce games, all 6 games which went to deuce were won by Woodruff.
Now let's head down and join the presentation on the court. As first we hear from Wade McGuire.
The community, Athens has treated me, so special. And, words can't express how I feel about the community and everybody at the University of Georgia. Thanks a lot.
I'd like to recognize Chris Woodruff's mother and father who are sitting on the batting box. He's been great to work with. Coach DePalmer has done a phenomenal job in bringing his career along. He's worked with him since he was the age of 11 or 12. He stewarded his career and done a tremendous job, and without Coach's direction, neither Chris nor I would be standing here right now, so we want to thank him. Chris has been the SEC Player of the Year. He won 23 matches in a row, but never, I don't think, have Coach DePalmer and I see him play as well as he did today. It was an unbelievable exhibition of tennis. He was very focused, played hard, didn't make many errors, served tremendously well. He's not only a special person on the court, but off the court, he's as nice and as friendly and as good as he seems on the court. I never thought I'd be in this position to present a champion, but at this time it's a great deal of pleasure for me to introduce Chris Woodruff and hand him the NCAA Singles Division I Championship.
Congratulate Wade McGuire on an outstanding career at the University of Georgia. I wish him the best of luck in the future. I'd like to thank all the people who make this tournament possible, the line people, ball people, and the trainer. My body feels terrible right now. I'm so sore. I'd also like to thank my dad and my mom for all the involvement they've done with my tennis, because without them, I wouldn't be here today. Thanks a lot, Mom. And Coach DePalmer, I can't say enough about it. He always helps me. He's just a great coach, an outstanding person. I want to thank him a lot. I love Athens, and I hope to be back in the future. Thanks.
It was a big day for the Tennessee Volunteers and Chris Woodruff. A brilliant display of tennis, winning in straight sets. For Steve Flink and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Joel Myers. Thanks for joining us this afternoon in Athens, Georgia. Travel provided by American Airlines, together with American Eagle, proudly serving over 320 cities in over 45 countries worldwide. American Airlines, something special in the air.